is to be there for your wife or spouse or partner. That is so important. They look up to us for security and strength. We need to stand up for them, make them feel secure, make them feel safe. To be there with them through every single struggle, to let them know that you can be relied upon and trusted. That is so important for them. And one thing I know is that they will notice if you're not. It's so important that you look after them, because they are going through so much. If we think we're struggling with being a dad, think about how the mums are going and they're struggling, especially the first time mums. Like, it is completely, well and truly overwhelming. If they're choosing to be a stay-at-home mum, or they're not working, their lives have been completely turned upside down. It's a complete change. Maybe not as much after you've had a couple of kids, because kind of get used to it a bit more, but still it's a big change each time. And whereas for us, they're kind of less things that change. Yes, it's still a massive change in our lives, but we still kind of go to work, we still have that sort of routine, in a sense, that we used to have before. But for the mums, it's like they're with the baby all the time. So look after them, organize times, let them have times to themselves, offer to look after the baby, look after the kids, and give them some time away just to do what they want to do on their own, because it's incredibly hard and incredibly draining. I have so much respect for what Verity does and what wives and mums do. It's just amazing how much they do and what they do. And I got a small snippet of it at times where I've had to look after Sunny for kind of 2-3 hour blocks. It's just been at home while Verity's been asleep in the other room. But it's like there's a couple of times where Sunny's been super unsettled for that whole time, and the only time he'll sleep is if he's on my chest, and if I move slightly he'll wake up and be grumpy again. And like those sorts of experiences, it made me think, wow, this is what Verity has been dealing with all day, every day, while I'm at work. And yes, she's had people around her to help as well, but like it's a big job, and it is so incredibly draining. So it is their full-time job to look after their kids. So I have huge respect for that. This is a big one for me, and sometimes you learn things that you don't like. So you will learn a lot about yourself. That's my number 6. Honestly, I've learned so much about myself just through one experience where I was really hit hard by it. And I've learned for myself that my aspirations and my priorities have been misplaced in the wrong spot, that I have been elevating other things above family and above Verity and above Sunny. And probably all throughout our marriage I've been doing that, maybe in small bits, but it's things that have started to slip through cracks. And really, again, like I said, it hit me hard, and I had this big realization that actually my attitude has been wrong in so many ways, and in so many things, that I've been a bit selfish, so that's one thing I've learned. I've learned that I can very easily become too distracted by things that don't matter. I can easily, it's so easy just to sit on your phone and flick through social media. And I was saying it to Verity, like, it's so easy to go, all right, I've got 5 minutes here, 5 minutes of downtime before I've got to do the next thing. I quite often think, well, there's no point, getting a book out and reading, or, no point starting something because I've only got that 5 minutes. So, I may as well just do something for 5 minutes on my phone that, because then soon enough we'll be back up doing things again. But quite often that 5 minutes turns into 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes. And at the end of the time, you get up and you think, oh, I've actually just wasted a lot of time here that I wasn't intending on. So for me, I've had to learn to be a bit more intentional about the things I try to spend time on. And believe me, it's difficult. It's so easy just to do those things that are mind-numbing, that are meaningless, because it's a habit. It's a thing that we've developed over time, and it's so much easier to fall into old habits than to break them. And that's the story of my life, basically. Bad habits, they're just so easy. Good habits are so difficult to maintain. So that's one thing. That's another thing. Another thing is that I was hearing Verity and, in a sense, listening, but not really listening. And I wasn't responding well to her needs and how she was feeling. Quite often I couldn't handle it. And, I handle things in my own way. Verity handles things differently. And quite often there's, I guess, a clash there. I've always been the sort of person that's been able to just put my feelings aside, chuck them on the shelf, leave them there for later, and maybe at some point I'll come back to them and address them. But to deal, I've always been like, well, this isn't going to help me thinking about it now, so I'm just going to put it aside, move on, do what I need to do. But that's Verity deals with things very differently, and my way of dealing things is not always a good way of dealing with things. So I think that flowed into our relationship and the way we communicated, and the way I responded to how she was feeling sometimes. And the other thing, which I think is a big thing, which all guys struggle with, is then the want or the desire to try and fix things. And fixing things, you can't always fix things. There are just some things that can't be fixed, that you can't do. And you've got to throw your hands up and go, well, okay, I accept that. I can't fix the problem. But I can still be there. I can still listen. I can still feel what Verity, or try and feel what Verity is feeling. I'm trying my best to understand what she is going through and to make her feel validated in her thoughts and feelings. So that's a big one. I've also at times allowed negative thoughts to creep in too easily and for too long. So, when something happens, I get, frustrated, angry, and I let it build up, rather than just going, oh, actually, this is not a helpful thought to be having right now. Yes, it's frustrating. Maybe I can talk about it to kind of get my frustrations out. But a lot of the times those negative thoughts aren't actually true as well. So in the Bible, it tells us to take captive every thought. So what I've really been working on is anytime I notice a negative thought coming in, just to go pick it up straight away and go, actually, this is not a helpful thought right now. I'm going to lock it up, throw it away. This is not how I need to be thinking right now. Let's focus on something different, something better. So holding those thoughts captive. So that's all the things I've learned, and I've also learned other things, and I'm continually learning things as I go each and every day. And you will learn, maybe some of those things you'll learn yourself as well. Some of those things will be different that you'll learn, because again, I'm not the same as you. Everybody is different. Everybody has things that they are strong at. Everybody has things that they struggle with. So the things I've been working on and learning about myself are going to be completely different. But it's important that you do, that you are open to learning and are open to making changes and realizing these things that might not be helpful in either yourself or the way you're approaching your relationship or the way you're approaching parenting. So be aware of these things and try and make yourself a better person every day. So that's something I've been really trying hard to do, and it's, again, I say all of these things, they're not easy at all. It's a constant challenge, but you will learn a lot about yourself. Number 7 is to keep working on strengthening your marriage or relationship. I think that's so important. And again, I've received advice here and there from people at work that have been married 20, 30 years, and they say, you'll have kids and that'll become busy and the stresses of life will come up and you'll become busy and you'll be able to spend less and less time with your spouse or your partner, and it becomes harder and harder to spend time on your relationship. But you need to make sure that you're prioritizing your marriage or your relationship. Dedicate some date nights. Spend some time away from the kids. Get your family or friends to babysit for a night, for a couple of hours, and just spend some time, good quality time together, strengthening your relationship. Because one of the things I'm really conscious of at the moment is that the strength of your relationship as a married couple or as partners, that has a huge impact on your kids, because they are always looking up to you. They're always looking up to you for guidance. And if you lead by example and show that your marriage, your relationship is a strong, healthy marriage or relationship, then your kids are going to look up to that and see and think, wow, this is the normal. This is what things should be like. Whereas if they see a broken relationship, a broken marriage where things are falling apart all the time, there's constant arguing, all of those things, then they might think that that's the normal, and they, that will shape their idea of what relationships are like growing up. So I guess there's a big responsibility there, which I'm feeling the weight of at the moment, and working towards. The other thing in terms of your marriage is it is so easy for certain things to fall back, or to go back into old selfish habits, or to become complacent, because life is busy. All of these things do start to happen around us, and we sometimes fall into these old bad habits and we withdraw. And one thing I keep hearing, and occasionally I've experienced it in my in my marriage, just from a small aspect, but I don't want it to grow even further, is just this idea that you don't want to become two separate people in the marriage, and that you don't want to be living your own separate lives apart from each other, and just essentially taking up the same space but living separate lives. So that's really important. You want to be, the Bible tells us that marriage is about becoming one being. Yes, we have our individuality, but those things, we should meld together and draw on each other's strengths to build upon that, to create a strong, solid unit. And those differences that we have, if one person has a weakness and the other person has a strength, well, that strength can help to bring up that other person, so that, again, you're united and together in everything that you do. And that's a constant thing to work on. For me, my biggest one right now as a real challenge is communication. Something I've been lacking, and something I've always known that I've struggled with, but also not necessarily known / worked hard enough at. And so many times it's bit me in the butt, so to say. I don't know if that's the right phrase. I'm getting a bit tired, but that's one thing that has caused a lot of issues in our relationship, is that I've not communicated effectively, and I'm starting to learn how to do that. I'm still not great, but part of it is actually just the more you do it, the better you get. So that's kind of my mentality at the moment, to try and communicate everything that I can as much as I can, so that, if I do it poorly, well, that's better than not doing it all, because at least if I do it poorly, I learn from it and I can do it better next time. So that's one thing personally that I've been working on. Tip number 8 is seeking guidance from others, whether it's from a trusted person in the church. It might just be one of your close friends. It might be another couple that you look up to as being having a strong relationship between them, or another dad, or other sets of parents who you respect. That's really important, because it's so easy to feel alone in this whole situation. It's so easy to feel like you can't go to other people for help, for guidance, whereas actually there's a whole lot of other people around you that I'm sure would be more than happy to help out. And if you don't know anyone, there's lots of places that you can reach. There's support groups online. There's different places in the community that you can join, and all of these things are easier said than done. And I'm saying all of this with possibly a bit of hypocrisy, because I'm actually really, really bad at this. Something I've struggled with massively is being able to have someone to share how I'm going with being a dad. And that's something that I'm certainly working on. But also my other thought is, it doesn't necessarily have to be people, because if you don't feel like you have someone at the moment that you can talk to face to face, it could just be that you're listening to YouTube videos or listening to podcasts or things like that. I found especially helpful that I've been listening to Focus on the Family, which is a podcast, as the name suggests, about solving family, challenging topics, anything to do with family, relationships, marriage, all of those things, kids. And I've really just been trying to soak it all up and get as much insight and advice as I can from all these other people that have been through being a dad, to help me better understand what I can do in where I am right now. And even just the first thing I spoke about is being a dad is hard, and a lot of it is that you are the primary support for your spouse, wife, partner, as they are going through this challenge of raising a baby. But you've also got to be able to have support as well, somebody there who's helping you. And again, that's something I'm still sort of looking for. I've had people around me that I can sort of talk to, but not someone regular, someone solid that I can go to for anything, for any sort of advice, information. So if you can, that's something that I definitely try to get, if you can. Even if you're preparing to be a dad, maybe setting up some of these support networks so that when you do become a dad, that you can feel comfortable going to these people. Yeah, so seeking guidance from others, that's super important. And number 9, nobody is perfect. You're never going to be the perfect dad. Unfortunately, there is no such thing, because we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all do things wrong. So the best thing that we can do is to really just think about those things that we do wrong and learn from them, but also to celebrate the things that we do right, because that's important too. Because if we're constantly beating ourselves up or holding ourselves to an impossible standard, then it's going to be even more of a struggle. But celebrate the small successes and really know that even though things might not be perfect, that you are just knowing that you are doing the best possible job that you can, that is going to be enough. So nobody's perfect, but you got to do the best that you can. So that's 9 things. I said 8 at the start, but that's 9 things that I've learned about being a dad, and I just wanted to share those things with you. I don't know what situation you are if you're watching this, whether you're a new dad, whether you've been a dad for a while. If that's the case, then if you have any tips for me, please send them my way. But hopefully, if you're about to be a new dad, or you're kind of going through the same things that I'm going through, I just hope that this can help you out a little bit. And I want to finish it off by saying being a dad is really great. It really is. It's a lot of hard work, and some of you might be in the position where it was unexpected. It wasn't planned that you're going to be a dad, but embrace it. Really just embrace it. And it is, once you embrace it, it becomes just this amazing thing. And there's nothing better than being able to hold your baby in your arms and, knowing that they are safe with you. So just, I'd like to encourage you, if you're watching this, that you're doing a good job, and that you're not alone, that you can always find help. And if you haven't managed to make it through all the way to this end of this video, I think it's going to be quite a long one, but if you have managed to make it this far, there is a Discord that I've made up. The link I'll leave in the description. That is a place where you can, my hope is that we can create a bit of a community. If you have any questions about being a dad, or about faith, or just questions about life in general, that you can go there, hop on in there, develop some friendships with people online, and there's some voice channels as well if you want to actually speak with other people, and just that could be a place for you to learn and grow also. So that's on offer. But also, like I said, that number 8, if you're struggling, I would recommend hopping online and just seeing what is available around you, whether it's a community group, whether it's some resources online, and just know that you're not going through this alone, that you are supported, and there's lots of other people also in a similar boat to you, in the same stage as you, going through the same things.